Adetoun. How are you?
I'm fine. I'm very well. Good morning from Nigeria.
So good to see you, and so glad that you are here. My new best friend from Nigeria. Can you tell us your name and the name of your farm?
My name is Adetoun Tiani. So if you are a Yoruba person listening to this, I rock my tribe. But call me Adetoun Abbi-Olaniyan. And I've called it the way a Nigerian person would call it. If you can't pronounce my name, just call me DT. My farm is Thistleberry Natural Farms.
And where is Thistleberry Natural Farms?
Thistleberry is at Epe in Lagos State, Nigeria. And we're a natural farm. We grow everything and process all we grow. So we manage our post-harvest losses very, very efficiently. Zero food waste.
Bravo, it sounds beautiful. Tell me about your farm story. How did you begin Thistleberry Natural Farms?
That's a long story. So I grew up a farm girl. I grew up with my dad creating a tomato patch at the back of our house. By the way, my dad was was in the military, but is also very, very much in touch with the roots. He's a homely person. So he was a homely man. So at the back of our house, we would have corn growing, we would have cassava, we would have a melon, we would have tomatoes, peppers, yam at some point, sweet potatoes. So every time we had to move from one place or another, coincidentally, we always have an extra lot at the back of the house. So I could actually imagine that probably my father looked for homes with a backyard garden as an incentive. It's like a must, you know. So that's how I grew up. So I grew up growing and eating at least 65% of what we ate at home was grown from the backyard. And eventually, wow, my mom had farms because she was a teacher, and then teachers are allowed to own farms around the community of the schools where they teach, or the school where they teach. So my mom had a farm, and on Saturdays, God help you, we wake up in the morning and we are heading to the farm. We planted cassava, we planted maize, we planted yam, so our palm oil, the staple food in Nigeria, gari, and cassava flour, and cassava pudding were grown. And then we had the sweet potatoes grown at the back of the house, the peppers. And by the time I was 14 or 15, we had poultry. So our eggs came from our poultry. We had ducks, we had snail. As a matter of fact, at age 12, I had my own rabbitry. So my father bought me 2 rabbits. And before I knew it, I had a colony. So I did that between age 12 and 14. And I used to sell them.
Wow, so for meat?
Yes, rabbit for meat. Sweeter than chicken, by the way.
I love rabbit.
Sweeter than chicken. Sweeter than chicken. So, and that's how farming started for me. And you see, I went to school. When I got to the university, it was a big challenge buying food outside. So my food came from home. And my university was just like 2 hours away from my home. So on a Saturday, my dad will bring me live chicken. He'll bring it to me in school. And so growing up that way, I mean, I found it very difficult when I got into Lagos. Of course, I didn't grow up in Lagos. I grew up in the suburbs. I grew up in Abbi-Olaniyan in Ogun State, which is like the next state from Lagos. So I called myself a village girl, a homely girl, and buying banana became a problem. Buying fruits on the street, and you look at the fruit, you can't identify the fruit that you grew up eating and the fruit you're looking at. But I kind of coped. But by the time I was like 12 years into banking, because banking was my career, I knew that I had to do something about food. So it started as a personal thing. And as at then, my mom had about 40 hectares of oil palm field. So the palm oil, which is a staple for us in Nigeria, was brought from my mom's farm.
Wow.
So it started as, oh, where am I going to get this? And then I started buying food from outside, out of Lagos. The food I would eat at home with my family, I buy them from out of Lagos. And one day I woke up. I had gone through, of course, I had gone through a lot of emotional upheaval, a lot of emotional challenges. I was depressed I was in depression for 4 years. I had attempted to end it all like 3 or 4 times in between the 4 or 5 years. And then one day I was praying, and this was in 2016. And all I could perceive nature. I could perceive earth, the smell of earth, you know, and I felt the unction that gardening would help me heal, because I was suffering from insomnia.
Wow. 3
days I would not close my eyes to sleep. Sleep was a luxury for me. So I started. And my home is all concreted, like a typical city home in a highbrow area of Lagos, all concreted with interlock paving stones. The only sandy patch you will see is the flower patch. So that's where I started from. It was as if everything that I had learned growing up from my parents just came up. So I started growing in plastics, in cups, in bags, in sacks. And my growing wasn't that. I started with nursing seedlings. And the first time I put something in the soil for myself in my home, and I saw it pop out. Voila, that was it. So my daughter and I found solace in gardening. And I'm like, okay, so if I can garden and I enjoy it, then it means I can take it further. So I ran a pilot growing in cups. And then one day I was on a platform and someone said, oh, I'm looking for seedlings. And I asked, what kind of seedlings are you looking for? So she said she has a patch, but she needs some seedlings to plant in. Then I said, oh, I have seedlings. Oh, what do you have? I said, I have fluted pumpkin. We call it ugu, but it's fluted pumpkin leaves. Very, very nutritional. I said, I have them. I have rosemary. I have this. I have that. She said, oh, she'll come over to my house. And she came over. And that day, she bought 10 cups, seedling cups of fluted pumpkin.
Wow.
It was 7,000 naira. It was a lot of money for me. And I'm like, all right, something is going on here. And then I found myself, so that's how, and prior to that, I run a consulting and advisory firm in agribusiness and exports for SMEs. So for me, I'm like, okay, if I'm teaching this, I must have somewhere where I would have practiced. I'm someone that likes to practice what I preach. So if I say it, I will tell you I have done it. If I have not done it, I will tell you I have not done it. And for, in Nigeria, when you sell your skills and you sell your skills with practice, it is easy for people to believe you and bring services to you. So everything just kind of was like working together. And I found myself in a space where I am practicing what I do with my profession, or what I do as a living. Because by then I was not in banking anymore. Anyway, I left banking in 2010. I was just tired, and I said, you know what, I want to do things on my own. And this is like 6 years after I left banking. This was in 2016 that I began this journey. I went back to school. I went to School of Entrepreneurship. It was in March 2017 that I began my commercial farm, because by December 2016, I knew I had to take this further. So I created a space outside my fence, which is still part of my house, created a garden, and it became I call it my lab. So whatever it is I want to do on my farm, I would first of all do in my lab, my laboratory, to further understand what I wanted to do. So I started farming in 2016, gardening as a garden, and then commercially, March 2017. We planted first time commercially on the farm in May 2017.
Wow.
So that's the story of how I started Thistleberry.
That is beautiful. Thank you so much for sharing that. I am blown away by your history and how you came through. You have the background with your family, but how you fought for your farm is so beautiful.
Yes.
Thank you so much for sharing that.
Thank you.
What are your hopes for the future? Where are you headed with this? What do you want to happen? What are your dreams?
Audacious. Audacious, audacious, audacious.
Yes.
When I started, one of the things that I was very, very clear about is that, because it's supposed to be a holistic healing process for me, I wanted to be closer to nature. I needed something that would technically wear me out, and I needed what would also make me happy, that would fulfill me. So I see Thistleberry as becoming a holistic and healing center. Because we're a natural farm. I actually blend my plant food myself. I have never, ever used anything synthetic. No chemicals whatsoever on my farm. So I brew my pesticide naturally, and I make my plant food. So,
bravo.
So our products are premium, and I make no apologies for it. We grow vegetables, herbs, fruits, and we process the same. So whatever it is we don't sell fresh goes into our dehydrator, and you'll feel the rich nourishment, the nutrients. So where do I want to take this? I'd like to retire into a resort, into a natural resort, where people can come from everywhere in the country and the world. Build your tent if you want to be outdoors. Wake up in the morning to the sound of crickets, which is missing in our everyday life. Now I enjoy seeing butterflies and crickets. They are part of the ecosystem.
Yes.
What is the sound of crickets? Pick your herbs, brew your tea, determine the kind of vegetable you want to eat, pick it up, and it will be made for you, or you can make it yourself. So when you want to get away from it all, you come to the resort. You can spend as long, you can actually work out of the results. And that is my dream. That is where I see Thistleberry growing. So we will grow for our own customers. We will grow for specific premium customers, either domestic or exports. We will process our dried fruits, our dried herbs, our make our spices. We make our own spices. We blend our own spices now. And we would also have our own resort. So I'm looking at like 20 hectares. We don't have to be, the way it will be structured, people will feel close to what they're eating. You must know what you eat. You must have that knowledge of this is what I am eating and this is where it is grown. So traceability, food safety and hygiene is a very key part of what we intend to be in the future. And that's where I see Thistleberry.
I love it. I love it. Can I come and stay? I love it. It sounds like an ideal. For people who right now are living more urban areas, what would you say to them? I know that you had said you had experienced sleeplessness and living in a concreted area was becoming, even though it was a nice area, you were feeling oppressed by it. What would you share with someone who might be having that experience of an urban lifestyle right now?
The beauty about urban lifestyle is you can create whatever it is you want to. And that's where creativity and innovation comes in. I'll share an experience. I harvested mint leaves from the farms one day, from my farm, and I kept it in a bag. And the bag was kept in the fridge. Now, in the cool part of the fridge where it's not so chilly, right? And guess what? I kept picking leaves of mint from that lot for 6 weeks.
Wow.
And I'm like, oh, okay, tell me something. What just happened? Mint likes very cool environment. And I like to drink mint with my tea. So
me too.
I could pick fresh mint leaves just by ensuring that I have the right condition. So the right condition is the operating environment for every plant. You know, the right condition is the what do you call it? Is the operating word for every plant. So you can grow in cups, you can grow in plants, in planters, you can grow in sacks, in bags. There's nothing that you cannot use as a medium to grow. In an urban environment, you would always see like flower patches where you can plant your flowers. You can decide to convert it into veggies that you eat at home. Because every urban environment, if you're not eating vegetables, you're eating herbs. Those are like staples in our everyday food. If you can grow them, at least you know that the source of your vegetable is from you. You can plant on windowsills. 2 years ago, I decided I wanted to turn a portion of my house into a jungle. Guess what I did? Right. So right now, and it's in an urban environment, and it's concreted. So I have passion fruit growing in my house right now. I have banana. I've harvested banana once. I have 2 that are already, the fruits have come out. I have mulberry on my farm. I'm sorry, in my house. I have cocoyam, that is taro. I have all sorts of vegetables and herbs.
That's amazing. That is amazing. Wow. You had shared that your farm is in a different area than where you live right now, and I want to
Yes.
hear more about what you do with the banking, but we might pause right now and then next time talk about that a little bit and what your
Yeah.
goals are for living on the farm.
Thank you. And I've really enjoyed myself.
Oh, it's wonderful. I love every minute of it. Thank you. Enjoy
Thank
your
you.
day, Adetoun. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.